The story of his adventure with the giant peach, he wished for a way to share it with everyone. And that is exactly what you have just seen.
Once upon a time there was a vulture and a hawk living in a house up on a hill. Had this little boy who lived with them, and they worked him like a dog. With any luck, they'd have him up there still. Along came a magic man with a magic bag full of nasty little green things in a funky old rag. He said, boy, you may not know it, but this here's salvation you see. Son, you're going down in history. Good news blowing in your window. Good news is knocking on your door.
A magical game in a jungle world, the big film for Christmas Day on BBC One, starring Robin Williams. The network premiere of Jumanji is this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
Must be good news chasing me. Good enough to set everybody free. Good news, good news, good news. Good news.
I'm smart, you're dumb.
I'm big and you're small.
I'm right, you're wrong.
And there's
nothing you can do about it. Was it magic or coincidence? She didn't know.
The network premiere of Matilda, Boxing Day at 2:45 on BBC One.
I know growing up was never meant to be easy, but I can only hope you never have to meet someone as evil as Mr. Murdstone.
I have a surprise for you. You have a new father.
For this man and his horrid sister were the beginning of the end of my wonderfully happy childhood.
Stubbornness must be crushed, and crushed it shall be.
You want to fight me no more, sir?
Please don't help me, Mr. Murdstone.
You know me, sir.
Not yet, sir. And the start of a journey that would lead me through an amazing series of events, magical places and unforgettable friendships.
To Copperfield. Not just a lodger, a friend.
Come with me, David Copperfield, on the journey of a lifetime, tonight at 7 on BBC One.
Uh-oh.
Christmas Day on BBC One, make a new best friend.
Call me Robbie, because I am.
Created by BBC Animation. Yippee! Join Robbie and friends
I'm Des Yeti, and this is Alan Snowman.
for a delicious frolic through the North Pole.
I know what we'll be doing for one day of the year, but what do we do the other 364 days?
Well, we...
Sit back and enjoy the life and loves of Robbie, Hooves of Fire, today at 2:30 on BBC One.
Elton John was queuing up for the Morecambe and Wise treatment, and he got it. Eric and Annie's Christmas show from 1977 is right here on BBC One in 5 minutes. The BBC News first on BBC One with George Alagaya.
Good afternoon. The Indian Airlines plane that was hijacked yesterday is now in Afghanistan. The authorities there have refused to give the hijackers political asylum. There are at least 160 people on board. The jet was hijacked after leaving Kathmandu. It arrived early this morning in the Afghan city of Kandahar after releasing some passengers in Dubai.
Confusion still surrounds the hijacking of the Indian Airlines jet, which has been on a terrifying tour of South Asia and the Middle East. In Dubai, 27 of the hostages, mostly women and children, were freed in exchange for food and fuel. But before leaving for Afghanistan, their captors, who it suggested may be Sikhs armed with knives and grenades, released the body of one passenger. It's reported that 4 bodies had been seen on board the plane. India's Prime Minister Vajpayee is keeping close contact with the ruling Taliban in Afghanistan in the hope that the hijacking can be brought to an end without further bloodshed. While traumatized relatives await anxiously in New Delhi, the authorities have confirmed that there were originally 189 people on board, many, it's reported, returning from their honeymoon. For the moment, the motives of the hijackers are not clear. They're refusing to leave Afghanistan, but the Taliban has said it's refueled the aircraft and it wants it to leave as soon as possible.
Reports from Chechnya say the Russians may have begun their final assault on the Chechen capital Grozny. After another night of shelling, columns of tanks are closing in on the city from several directions.
The long-awaited all-out assault appears to be underway. Grozny was pounded by artillery throughout the night, the Russians attempting to soften up the Chechen capital's defences. More Russian tanks and armoured personnel carriers were brought up to the front line around the besieged city. Then they began their advance. This soldier says, "We're going to Grozny." The attack is being led by crack units from the Russian Interior Ministry. The badly trained and inexperienced conscripts who make up much of the army's strength are being kept well to the rear. In Grozny, as many as 40,000 civilians are in for a terrible few days. After months of shelling, they'll now have to cope with fighting right outside their homes. The well-armed Chechen Islamic rebels who are demanding independence will put up stiff resistance. Even though they're outnumbered, they have the advantage of knowing the layout of the capital better than their attackers. The assault is likely to be a bloody affair. Jonathan Charles, BBC News, on the Chechen border.
The Pope has just delivered his Christmas message at St. Peter's in Rome. He called for a ban on what he called the senseless use of arms and said hatred had doomed both individuals and entire nations. As usual, thousands of pilgrims crowded into St. Peter's Square to hear the Pope's message. A clean-up operation is underway after gale-force winds and heavy rain caused severe flooding in many parts of the UK. Hundreds of residents were evacuated from their homes in Sussex. Bulldozers are now being used to shore up sea defences along the south coast. One man died after being swept into the River Mersey in gales last night. His companion is being treated in hospital. That's it. There's more from the newsroom at 5:40 here on BBC One. In the meantime, enjoy this Christmas day.
Good afternoon. Well, as you've been hearing, there have been some atrocious weather conditions in the last 24 hours. Still, some of the rivers are on red flood alert. Today, though, for Christmas Day, sunshine and showers, but we're monitoring this low pressure, which as it passes close by tonight, may bring some more rain into southern Britain. But we may yet see a white Christmas. These showers are falling as snow. Reports from Maidenhead and Bracknell. The snow caused problems in Northern Ireland and Scotland this morning. But this stormy weather with the rain and snow should become more confined to the northeast of the mainland this afternoon. But plenty of blustery showers elsewhere. Don't be surprised if you see some sleet, some snow, some hail, or even some thunder. And it's going to be a pretty cold afternoon if you add the winds on. Now, of course, the wind together with the wintry showers will mean some difficult driving conditions, and that continuing through tonight as we see temperatures falling fairly close to freezing. So ice will be an added problem, and in fact we could see some more significant snow in northern Britain, more especially Northern Ireland, Northern England, and also Scotland. Here some significant snow over the hills, and some of those showers getting through into eastern parts as well. Where it's further south, we could start to see that rain coming in, perhaps into parts of South Wales and the South Midlands too, and perhaps even a little sleet and snow on the higher ground here too. But that should clear away quite smartly through Boxing Day, and then we'll be left with another blustery old day, plenty of showers. Again, there'll be of rain, sleet and snow.
The animation for Christmas now on BBC One. Can Robbie stay the course to become one of Santa's reindeer?